You're watching Fugitive Red-Eye, and welcome to another anime review. Today I'll be reviewing the OVA series Cutie Honey. There will be some spoilers ahead, so you have been warned. Cutie Honey is a 3-episode OVA series, which according to the sources I've read, retells the plot of the live-action Cutie Honey movie, albeit with nudity and more character development. Having never seen the live-action Cutie Honey movie, I cannot confirm how close this is to that plot. What I can tell you is it does have a ton of nudity, and a ton of character development. It follows the same basic premise of all the other Cutie Honey versions, with Cutie Honey fighting against Panther Claw, with a few differences. Sister Jill is the sole leader of Panther Claw in this version. Panther Zora does not exist at all in this version. Speaking of characters that don't exist, there's also no such thing as Junpei or Danbei Hayami. It's just Seiji, who in this version is actually a secret agent who has to keep an eye on Honey, and destroy her if need be. Another key difference is Honey's friend Natsuko, who is usually a student with her at St. Chapel Academy. In this version is a police officer who initially doesn't like Honey and wants to arrest her, but later on warms up to her, and is implied to have a lesbian relationship to her by the end. And speaking of that, I mentioned in my new Cutie Honey anime review that there was some lesbian undertones. Well, if you thought that had lesbian undertones, those were nothing compared to the undertones that were in this one. The animation style is very stylistic, kind of comic book-like. It feels like it's a little bit wackier in the first episode than it is in the second and third. I love the animation style in Cutie Honey. A lot of people have said that it's got too many things going on at once, but I'd say that only really holds true for the first episode. And speaking of which, the first episode is the only one I have any real criticism of. The plot rushes way too fast in the first episode. It has like 4 different Panther Claw members that show up all at once in the beginning scene, and Honey defeats them each in like a second of seeing them. Granted, I assume that's the way to kind of get progressed through the series quickly, since it's only 3 episodes long, each being an hour. Another key difference in this series is Honey is actually not just a straight-up robot in this one. She was made using the cells of Dr. Kisarage's real daughter, so that was an interesting difference as well. There's also a weird thing where her clothes will like start melting off if she uses too much of her power. I think this one has probably a lot more nudity than any of the other versions I've seen, considering the only one I've actually seen that has nudity in it other than this is New Cutie Honey. To be fair, I have not seen Cutie Honey Flash, but I get the implication that doesn't have nudity in it, and I have not read the manga, and I know the manga does have nudity in it, so whereas the 70s one did not have nudity, and I've seen the first episode of Cutie Honey Universe, which also didn't have nudity, but it came pretty close. But regardless, this one has a lot of it. Probably more than any other version I have seen. Cutie Honey also has this really cool part at the end where Sister Jill turns into this giant monster thing, and it's the only version I've seen that happen, and the only version I've seen where Sister Jill wants to merge with Honey. Since St. Chapel Academy doesn't exist, we don't get the character of Alphon, unfortunately. She is one of my favorites. I don't like her as much as the Devilman Alphon, but she's still pretty funny. As far as this OVA series goes, I think, believe it or not, this has the best version of Honey, and the best character development. I was surprised at that because, for whatever reason, I've heard a lot of people don't like this one. Again, the first episode feels a little rushed and kind of crazy and chaotic, but after that, everything is really good. The character development, Honey actually has some inner struggles. Her relationship with Natsuko develops very naturally and very good. The only character I thought really wasn't that great in this was honestly Seiji. I liked Seiji a hell of a lot better in the 70s series than I did in Cutie Honey. I also do want to point out Honey's outfit was slightly skimpier in this one than it is in any of the others. This one is definitely a lot more cartoony and wacky, and definitely I feel like it does try to bring back some of the vibe of the 70s version, although it's set in modern times. It's very, very colorful and very wacky and crazy and over the top. But it's got great characters and a great story. If the movie is anything like this, it's probably pretty fucking good, which I doubt it's anywhere near this good because live action and anime don't usually mix well. There are, of course, exceptions to the rule, but that's another story for another day. I might check out the live action movie because I really liked the plot to Cutie Honey. I'm also going to be watching Cutie Honey Universe, obviously. As I said, I have seen the first episode. I'm thinking instead of doing an episode-by-episode review of that, though, I'll wait until it's all come out after I've seen it all, and then I'll review the whole series as I typically do. The only thing I really review in episodic format is probably Red Dwarf as it comes out, but that's just because that's what I've been doing with Red Dwarf. I probably won't do that with Cutie Honey unless maybe I group multiple episodes together, but even then I'm thinking I'll just wait till it's over. Let me know if you do want me to review the individual episodes or groups of episodes, and let me know what you thought of Cutie Honey if you've seen it, and what you think of the other installments in the franchise. As I said, I have not seen Flash and don't know if I intend to do so because from what I've heard, it's a lot more shoujo focused, kind of like Sailor Moon, but that doesn't really interest me anywhere near as much as the other versions of it. But Cutie Honey is a good one. If you haven't seen it because you've heard that it's bad, check it out. It's actually really good. In fact, I'd honestly say it is just as good as the other 2 series I've seen so far. It's hard to pick a favorite. I'd say my favorite's probably still New Cutie Honey. and then after that the 70s one, and then this one is not quite there, but it's pretty fucking close. It's hard to say. Anyway, this has been Fugitive Red Eye, and you have a great day.